I don't know what I'm doing. What's a forward fold? Forward fold happens all the time in a yoga class. It happens all the time if you're exercising, period. So here's what it is, here's what it should be, and here's what it definitely should not be. First things first, take a seat on the ground. Send your legs out long in front of you. Any way, I'll show you sideways, probably be a little bit easier. First thing we're gonna do is the easiest way I know how to do it is to figure out if you're hyperextended. So I want you to flex your feet and then make your legs so straight. If your heels can lift off the ground, you're gonna lift your heels off the ground. If your heels can lift off of the ground and your legs are solid and straight, you are hyperextended. See, I'm a little bit hyperextended. Can you see? Not a crazy amount. Perfect. Relax your legs, soften them. If your heels don't lift off of the ground, nothing to worry about. You're good where you are, not hyperextended, perfect. If your heels did lift off of the ground, I want you to flex your feet, make your legs really strong, and then push your heels into the ground so they can't lift up. So the legs are still really active, still really strong, but you're pushing them into the ground. Doesn't feel as glorious, it doesn't feel as fancy by any means, but it's way better than this is locking out. When the heels lift up, there's pressure in the tops of the kneecaps. You might even feel pressure behind your knees. Some people can lift their feet inches off of the ground. I can't, great, but I still feel a lot of that pressure. We want to avoid that. No pressure in the front of the knee, no pressure in the back of the knee. Heels have to stay on the ground. So the way this feels right here in your legs, how strong they are, that's what it's going to feel like when you're in a forward fold. In fact, you can even bend your knees more. So those are the kind of shapes that we're looking for. Not locked out, happy knees, maybe even more bent knees. Let's do it. All right. Forward fold, exactly what it sounds like. You're going to fold forward, and you can also forward fold on the ground. So I'll show you that last two. Should have done it before, we'll do it later. Forward fold, first things first, feet anywhere from touching to hip width. If you got that belly, probably going to be a lot wider. Mine for a forward fold with this belly is going to have to be a lot wider. Pregnant, at least hip width. Not pregnant, feet can touch, or you can go hip width, your choice. Pregnant, more than hip width, especially if the belly needs it. Bend your knees, just roll yourself down there. Perfect. So we're forward folding. Yeah, I'll start this way. Feet are flat on the ground. So instead of trying to straighten our legs, which a lot of us do, we really want to straighten. Did you see what happened? I'm now in the backs of my hamstrings. They feel quite terrible, and I'm way far back. In fact, my toes can lift up. Don't want that at all. Toes want to be on the ground, but relaxed. They're not grabbing the ground. They're just relaxed. So I need to bend my knees and move forward, 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 hence the forward in the forward fold, and then fold. Good. So in a forward fold, I'm really light in my heels the whole time. Ideally, my hips are stacked somewhat over my knees and somewhat over my ankles. My hips are not behind me. Again, that feels really bad in the insertion towards the hamstring, which is what we want to not do. We want to get into the meat. So shift forward. This is where blocks come in handy if you need them. And again, however far down you are, doesn't matter. It might look something like this. The more rounded your spine is, the more you need to bend your knees just to shift yourself forward, right? So give yourself slack. It doesn't matter if your legs are straight. It doesn't matter if your legs are straight. I'll say it one more time. It doesn't matter if your legs are straight, right? Bend your knees as much as you need. Take the weight forward because it's a forward fold, and then drop your head. We tend to get into shapes like this in a forward fold because we think we need our legs straight. We get into shapes where we're really far back with our legs straight. And then what else do I see people do? Oh, this a lot in a forward fold. You're kind of half lifted, half forward folded. Let everything go. Good. A forward fold can be active. Sometimes you're asked to stand on your hands. And again, you want to shift forward, not backwards. Sometimes you're asked to grab your heels, the backs of your legs, thread the legs, anything, all of that. The weight is still forward, forward. You can also do a wide-legged forward fold where your legs go wide and you fold forward. So again, legs can be as wide as you need them to be. You're folding forward. Knees are still soft. Weight is still forward. So you're really light. I'll show you sideways. In your heels the entire time. In fact, my hands have more weight than my heels do. Forward folds are what can lead you into a half lift. They are what can lead you into a getting upside down. I'm certainly not going to do that this morning. But you're folded. The knees are bent. Everything's happy. Toes are soft. Heels are light. You are forward folding. And it feels really nice. Forward folds. Go forward, fold, bend your knees. Bye.